I want to talk about Elon Musk because he sat down for a podcast with Tesla bull Cathie Wood of Ark Invest. Musk talked about why he thinks Tesla is making such strides in becoming fully autonomous.
The reason Tesla, I think, is making rapid progress is because we have vastly more data, and this is increasing exponentially.
Joining us right now is the person on the opposite side of that conversation, Cathie Wood, CEO and CIO of Ark Invest. And we want to hear about this conversation. Before we get to the conversation, I do want to ask you about one thing which happened overnight. I don't know if you followed his tweets.
Yes.
He tweeted out that he thought that the company would produce around 500,000 vehicles in the course of this calendar year. And 4 hours later, he appeared to have, I imagine, talked to a lawyer and corrected that. Said he was correcting those numbers, that they would be delivering about 400,000 vehicles this year. He went on a month, then explained on a month-by-month basis. But as an investor, and he has been sanctioned already by the SEC about about tweeting. They were supposed to put some kind of process in place, which it appears they have not put in place. Do you have any concerns about what's happening at that company? Putting aside the wonders of the vehicles and everything else and the investment case one way or the other.
No, I think what we hear from Elon, he's obviously got a very big idea,
right? And
he's running hard with it. So they produced 240 or delivered 240,000 last year. Their guidance is up to 400, officially was up to 400,000. He talks about exponential growth and how 6 months can make such a huge difference.
Right. But you also heard him on 60 Minutes say that that he is bad at making predictions and shouldn't be making predictions.
Well, I think he's very good at making long-term predictions. These short-term ones, no, because again, 6 months he could be off, yes, by 100,000 units. But let's put this in perspective: 240,000 produced or delivered last year. 400 this year, so up over 50%. Most auto manufacturers in the world are going to be down.
Right.
Let's just keep that in perspective.
If he had made those comments, though, while the market was open, would you feel differently?
I think everybody is beginning to adjust for Musk, and in this case, I would have as well.
What does that mean? That the rest of the public market, the laws should not adjust for Musk, but the public should adjust for Musk?
Well, the public can do whatever it wants. I'm just telling you what I'm doing.
Right.
And I'm looking at more than 50% increase in deliveries this year, when most auto manufacturers are going to see sales down. I see a company that has 80% share of the electric vehicle market in the United States and one of the top selling cars, whether gas powered or not. And, the point he was making earlier was, hey, we went from 0 to it could be 500,000. He's trying to make a point. We're on an exponential growth path here. And what he doesn't say, kindly, is that other auto manufacturers are beginning to fall apart when it comes to sales.
Right.
And they are beginning to point to Tesla as a reason why.
So it's at $307 right now. You believe the stock is worth what?
So our bear case, I'll start with that, is $700 in 5 years. And that assumes that they are nothing but an electric vehicle manufacturer and that they lose a lot of share from here. Okay?
That they lose a lot of share from here. Who do you expect them to lose share from?
Oh, I don't know. Personally, I think going from 80%, they will lose share. We're saying to get to our bear case, they go down to something like 15% share. That's a global number. Our bull case is $4,000 in 5 years, and that assumes autonomous mobility, and that they're at the leading edge of it, primarily because of their data. They have collected more data by far. And they will continue to collect more data because those of us who own Teslas are doing it for them every day.
Let me ask you a separate question. He also made a comment, I believe in the past 24 hours, about the idea of autonomous vehicles, says that he will have autonomous technology ready to go by the end of this year. Let me just also contextualize that by saying that Waymo, the Google self-driving vehicle, cars, which have been in development for much longer, from what I understand, use LiDAR and all sorts of other technologies and have historically been considered much safer when it comes to self-driving cars, does not believe they are going to be producing fully autonomous vehicles. I'm assuming what they call level 5 or level
4? Level 4, probably.
I think but if you tell me that it's fully self-driving, I'm thinking of that we're going even farther than that.
He did say on the podcast that he thought that they would be there. Again, adjust for, exponential growth. And here we're talking about data as well. We do think he will be. The way he framed it for us in the podcast was, we'll be there. We just need to bring the regulators along with us. And to do that, we need to produce the data, show that this is safe. So if you use autopilot today, you will be changing lanes. Have you used?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you understand.
But I think
it's a fancy version of cruise control, as far as I can tell, at this point.
Changing lanes is not.
I think what kind of stuck with me on that part of the comment is all of the accidents that have been involved, people say they weren't using it correctly. They were allowing it to drive without paying attention, and that has been the problem with it. When you have the CEO and founder who's such a big celebrity, like Elon, making comments like this, it just seems to me that it's more likely that more people are going to listen to him and say, okay, I'm going to let this thing do what he says it's going to do, even if that's what they tell you not to do when you're driving.
Well, if you do drive in one of these cars, if you don't touch it after a certain period of time, it's going to pull over. So they're going to override. I mean, he's trying to help people understand how the world's going to change and how he's going to transform it.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And so from a manufacturing and safety point of view, by the way, Tesla has to be one of the safest cars out there, right? What's so interesting is you hear about every fatality in a Tesla car, but not in all these other cars. They happen every day, every day.
Fair point. But again, when there have been problems, they say it's because people weren't using that correctly.
And therefore, they have put in stricter controls from a manufacturing point of view. Yes, they'll just disengage.
Last time you were on, Cathie, I thought, wow, that's way too soon for some of the things that you're predicting. You're very sort of aggressive about the movement and how quickly we can move on some of this technology. So I thought about you with the new Green Deal. You probably figure that's doable too, right?
That is not my political persuasion.
But what was it you said last time? Everything will be autonomous and it'll be Tesla and all taxi cabs will be autonomous in like 2 years or something?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, you call me crazy, yes.
I
yes.
do. That's true.
No.
But then I saw the new Green Deal and thought maybe you were like on the spectrum of crazy. You're way over here now.
Can I just ask you one more question? I'm sorry. I gotta go
or
back.
she can answer what I just asked her before you get to your question, but go ahead, Cathie.
No, we do see an autonomous taxi future. It will cost 1/10 what it costs now in a taxi cab here to go from JFK to Manhattan when we scale in autonomous.
Andrew goes on a helicopter from JFK to Manhattan
and that will be $75.
Don't you use Blade anyway?
So it will cost you.
I've never used it.
It'll cost you $75.
Right.
Passenger drone, when they're allowed.
Can I just go back? I just want to go back to the SEC thing that we started with, and here's my one question to you. Why can't you, and why couldn't you say, like I believe, and I'll tell you what I believe. I believe Elon is a genius. I think it's wonderful the things he's trying to do. I love the ambition. I hope he succeeds. I think it'll be great for humanity if he succeeds. At the same time,
he's already succeeded.
Okay,
He's already succeeded. Trying to do. He's done it.
And at the same time, I have to be bothered as somebody who cares about the law when he's tweeting things that are factually untrue, when there's a system that has not been put in place that he was sanctioned to put on. Why was it so hard to hold those two dualities? Why do you have to be?
Is this a question?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Really? Okay.
It's my view, but I'm just surprised because
I explain.
So, as having been a portfolio manager for many years, I know how to adjust for what different CEOs say, given their personalities and their aspirations. So I see this all the time, especially with visionaries. I remember with the same thing was happening with Amazon for years.
Right.
We were considered crazy, and yet now it seems so obvious, right? I think the same is going to be true of Tesla. I really do.